Hey everyone! If you're an American, you might think your passport is a golden ticket to the world. But guess what? Some places don't exactly roll out the red carpet for US travelers. Whether due to political tensions, strict visa policies, or outright bans, these countries make it extremely difficult, or even impossible, for Americans to visit. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an eye-opening video like this. First on our list is Venezuela, a nation of breathtaking landscapes, from the towering Angel Falls to pristine Caribbean beaches. But beneath that beauty lies deep economic and political turmoil. The U.S. Department of State strongly warns against travel here due to crime, civil unrest, and the risk of arbitrary arrest. If you're set on going, you'll need a visa. But here's the catch. You can't apply for one in the US. Since diplomatic relations broke down in 2019, you'd have to go through a Venezuelan embassy in another country. That alone makes travel incredibly tricky. Libya has been in chaos since the 2011 revolution, and violent conflicts continue to make it one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Americans face extreme risks, including terrorism, kidnappings, and armed conflict. Tourist visas, not an option. Business visas, possible, but only with official approval from a Libyan-based company. And even then, travel is highly discouraged. If you somehow make it there, you must register with the US Embassy for safety reasons. But honestly, it's not worth the risk. Syria is steeped in history, home to Damascus, Aleppo, and the ruins of Palmyra. But years of civil war have devastated the country, making it one of the riskiest places for Americans. Even if you could get a visa, which is a nightmare, there's a major issue. If your passport has a Syrian stamp, some countries may deny you entry later. Not to mention, the US outright advises against any travel here due to the threat of terrorism, kidnappings, and bombings. Turkmenistan is often called North Korea Light due to its extreme restrictions on foreign visitors. Want to visit the famous Door to Hell crater? Good luck. The visa process is brutal. You must apply through an embassy, secure a letter of invitation, and even then, there's no guarantee you'll be approved. Plus, independent travel? Not allowed. Most tourists must be on a government-approved guided tour. Even if you do get in, you'll need to register with authorities within 3 days or face serious trouble when trying to leave. Saudi Arabia used to be nearly impossible for tourists, but in 2019, they introduced a visa system as part of their Vision 2030 initiative to attract foreign visitors. Now, Americans can apply online, but women under 25 must travel with a male relative. And while strict dress codes have relaxed slightly, modest attire is still required. While the country boasts stunning UNESCO sites, remember, some places remain off-limits to non-Muslims, and violating cultural norms can get you into serious trouble. Nicknamed the North Korea of Africa, Eritrea is one of the hardest places in the world to visit. Even if you manage to get a visa, which is rare, your movements are severely restricted. Want to leave the capital, Asmara? You'll need a special travel permit. But these are often denied, meaning you're stuck in one place. If you love Art Deco architecture, that might be okay. But for most travelers, Eritrea feels like a locked box. Cuba isn't outright banned for US citizens, but you can't visit just for fun. You must travel under one of 12 approved categories, such as journalism, education, or humanitarian work. The most common category? Support for the Cuban people. But this means you'll need a full itinerary of activities that directly engage with locals, like staying in private homes and avoiding government-run businesses. Also, keep in mind that while Cuban tourist cards are easy to get, direct flights from the US come with added restrictions. Bhutan isn't politically closed off. It just wants to keep tourism controlled. Their high-value, low-impact policy requires Americans to pay $250 per day just to be there. This fee covers hotels, food, a mandatory guide, and even a sustainability tax that helps fund education and healthcare. So while it's not banned, Bhutan is deliberately out of reach for budget travelers. Since the 1979 revolution, Iran and the US haven't exactly been on great terms. Americans must book a guided tour and undergo an extensive visa process. Once inside, your itinerary is strictly controlled and independent travel is prohibited. On top of that, tensions between the US and Iran remain high, meaning things could change at any time. At the top of our list is North Korea, and for good reason. Since 2017, the US banned travel there after the tragic case of Otto Warmbier, an American student who was arrested for allegedly stealing a propaganda poster and later died after being imprisoned. Now, the only way for an American to enter is with special government approval, which is extremely rare and usually reserved for journalists or humanitarian workers. For most people, North Korea is completely off limits. And there you have it. 10 countries where Americans aren't welcome. Some are closed due to political conflicts, others have brutal visa restrictions, and a few are just too dangerous to visit. Would you ever consider visiting any of these places if the restrictions changed?